Cleveland. Both NBA games followed a somewhat similar script as it was win or go home time for Cleveland. Raps still without the thin man, Brandon Ingram, due to a right heel injury. But the Raps come out firing early. Jamal Shed to the youngster, Colin Murray-Boyles. This is a ridiculous alley-oop with the left hand. The Raps up 8, but then Donovan Mitchell puts on the brakes, buries that jumper. Cleveland down a bucket after the first 12. Early second, Toronto up 5. Scotty Barnes is a talented young man on both ends of the floor. Spins and hits. Toronto up 7. It's an 8-point lead. Shed. Float game, no, but the tip is on point. He had 14 in the first half. Toronto up 10. 6-point game, good ball movement. In rhythm, that's James Harden. He hits a 3, they got another, and it's an 11-2 run by the Cavs. They're tied at 49 at the half. These two teams had played 6.5 games. They had scored the exact same number of points, so it comes down to the second half, and that's when Mitchell asserts himself. Hits the 3, then attacks. Scoop with the left hand. Blink of an eye, and Cleveland leads by 9. The lead's now 13. Max Strus. The kick ahead, Jared Allen. Like Nerf. Big man with the Giannis with one dribble and 2 strides and gets to the rim. And the lead's 19 after 3. Mitchell down low. And look out! Heading right towards Mike Tirico and Reggie Miller and the folks that paid big money to sit in the front row. Reggie took off the headset to make sure he could get back onto the floor. You've seen one of the talented bigs, Allen. Now you see Evan Mobley get to the rim. And then it's Strus is loose. 3 more. And it's a 12-point margin in the end. Toronto and Cleveland go 7. A lot of respect at the end of it. And you see that Cleveland adds to an impressive run with 5 consecutive Game 7 victories in the playoffs, which began with that historic 2016 Finals triumph over the Warriors. That ties the second longest streak in NBA history, trailing only a 10-game streak by the legendary Celtic dynasty from the late 50s to the late 60s. Kendrick Perkins is here to talk about both games. And Perk, we'll start with Cleveland, obviously, and what they showed you in Game 7. I was talking about the bigs that we saw in Allen and Mobley. Mm-hmm. How much were they impactful tonight in the reason why Cleveland won?
Well, Scott, they were huge. And you know the narrative around the league about the Cavs is that they're soft. And I think tonight they showed that they got the capability of turning it up a notch, especially on the defensive side of the basketball. Tonight they did a lot of little things, and it's always going to start with the bigs. Jared Allen tonight was a grown-ass man in the paint. He owned the glass. He contested every shot. He had 3 blocks, 2 steals. Offensively, I thought he did an outstanding job of catching and finishing with force, going to the rim, diving with a purpose, running the floor, getting out in transition. If the Cavs are trying to go where we know that they're trying to go, Jared Allen and Evan Mobley are going to have to continue to play with this type of force, physicality, and change the narrative about the Cavs being soft. But I got to give a lot of credit too, Scott, to the Toronto Raptors, right? Their future is bright. Scotty Barnes in the next by the next 2 or 3 years, he's going to be in that conversation as one of the best two-way guys in the NBA.
Yeah, Amon Shumpert and I were having that conversation. He said, I'll call him a star, not a superstar yet, right? There's levels to this. But Barnes' ability on both ends of the floor, I'm with you. It certainly deserves credit. And Cleveland deserves credit. It's a hard-fought 7-game series. They move on. The concerns you have about Cleveland as they move on, Perk, what are they?
Well, when we look at the New York Knicks, we see that they change, and they now see that Karl Anthony Towns is the most important player on their team to their success. Same with the Philadelphia 76ers and Joel Embiid. Cleveland needs to understand that Evan Mobley is the most important player on their team. He has to get going. They have to get him going. Tonight, He did a lot of the little things, and when you look at the box score, it was popular, but they need him to be powerful. He's one of the most skilled bigs in the game today, a guy that is versatile offensively, could take it inside, could play outside, could shoot the tray ball. And I know a lot of people is putting a lot of pressure on James Harden, but the pecking order goes Donovan Mitchell, then Evan Mobley. They need to get Evan Mobley. They need to establish him, and they need to establish him in this series going into Detroit. Otherwise, it's gonna be a quick one for them if they don't.
Okay, speaking of Detroit, sit tight. Want to run this highlight as Detroit moves on. I get some thoughts on how
American Express, and you're taking a look at 49-49, and a lot of these numbers are similar to what we've seen the entire series, including the turnovers for the Cavaliers for the 5th straight game. They have at least 10 turnovers in the first half. That could be the difference down the stretch. Welcome back inside the studio, Maria Taylor, the Hall of Famers, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, and Carmelo Anthony. Hey, listen, the Raptors led this by as many as 10. Cleveland went on an 11-2 run to tie it up. But let's start with what the Raptors were doing well to start out the first.
They're 2 stars. That's well, first of all, 20 points in the paint. So that means Scotty Barnes is being aggressive. They're getting in the paint, as well as R.J. Barrett. You see here, they see the matchup they want, a la James Harden or Donovan Mitchell. They're going after attacking the rim, getting the ball on the backboard. If they don't make it, they're hoping for an offensive rebound. Here, another guy being aggressive, Scotty Barnes, seeing the matchup he wants, being aggressive. Their defense, earlier, their defense was creating offense where they didn't have to play against a set defense, easy layup. So right now they were active hands that kind of got in the mud late in the game, but they were active hands developing a lead. Scotty Barnes shooting the 3. I like to see him in the paint often, more times than not, but when the 3 is there, shoot it. He's shooting with confidence. He's really putting his team on his back, along with RJ. They don't want to go home. They want to win this game, and if they're going to win, it's because of those guys being aggressive.
They combined for 23 points in that first half. Meanwhile, for the Cavaliers, another slow start. T-Mac, you kind of talked about it in the pregame show. That's what we've continued to see from them. But things did change when we got to the end of the second quarter. What did you notice?
Well, I noticed that Donovan became a little bit more aggressive, right? I thought he should have came out that way. He and James, to me, is just too passive for a Game 7. James only had 5 shots in the first half and Donovan 9 shots. But they did a great job of closing out the quarter, and I thought Toronto, having that lead, did a poor job of closing out this quarter instead of building on their lead and letting Cleveland get back in this game. I suspect that these 2 guys are going to come out a little bit more aggressive and turn the volume up a little bit on the offensive end and make a run for this dub tonight.
They combined for 5 of 14 shooting, 17 points in that first half, Melo.
No, I go back to James. I keep saying it. I go back to James. I go back to Donovan. It's on them. To T-Mac's point, you can't start the game off that way. To us, if watching the game, it felt like, yo, Mac, you go.
Yeah.
No, Melo, you go.
Right.
No, VC, you go.
Yeah.
No, today,
I got it.
one of y'all, both of y'all go. And I think Donovan had, he started to take on the initiative of just being the more aggressive guy out there. And I do think it was first half. I think they was trying to figure out the game, see what was going to happen. Veterans like to let the game come to them. So second half, I think they'll be much better in the second half. I think they got the first half out the way. I think James, got the passiveness out the way, and hopefully got the passiveness out the way in the first half. Second half, it's go time.
It's got to be go time. Listen, we talked about a lot. Donovan Mitchell plays well at home during this series, averaging 31 points and shooting at 50% from the field. This is what go time looks like. They're going to need more of it in the second half, all knotted up at 49.